Hello and welcome to the On the Knob pod. I'm your host, Will Rooney, and for day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival, we have got 4 of our panellists on. We have got Henry Gibbs, regular, Paul Martin, the returning Anthony Kelly, and from the other side of the Irish Sea, we've got Darren Butler. And after the 3 days we've previewed already, we'll be previewing the last day now of the Cheltenham Festival. And we will start with the curtain raiser, which is the Triumph Hurdle, contested over 2 miles, and it looks a cracking renewal this year, doesn't it? Zana here and Tritonic both fighting out for favouritism 9-4 at the minute. Quilixios 11-2, Adagio 10-1, and it's 16-1 bar. Ant, I'm going to come to you first on this one. I mean, I know that French's Eel isn't running for Willie Mullins, but it looks a real good renewal. The 2 at the top of the market look solid. Do you like both of them, or would you be looking to take those on?
We'll be looking to steal a bit of each way money here, Will, on a horse we haven't seen run on British or Irish shows yet. And it's called Haute and Colours for Willie Mullins. There's rumours it's working very well at home for him, and it did look impressive on its only run so far at a toy last year. It pulled well clear of the field that day with another horse called Swiss Guards, who's reappeared since, but that he was well beaten, but that all beat that was over fences. So I was impressed last time with the only run so far there. It's been bought by the Donnellys since then, and obviously we know they're no mugs when it comes to buying horses. So at 16-1, I'm willing to pay me money and take me chances each way at that one, because obviously the Donnellys and Willie Mullins aren't soft, like I say. In terms of a win better, yeah, I haven't been too convinced. I'm not completely sold on Quilixios's form over at the Dublin Racing Festival. Obviously Tritonic was impressive in the Adonis at Kempton. A few winners of that race have come here and won. But for me, win bet, I'll probably be sticking with Zana here. Seems to be versatile the way it can be run. It offers slow pace, you can go a quick gallop as well. So plenty of versatility there, and I think he'll fire coming up to Cheltenham Hill from what I've seen so far. So Zana here for the win and Haute and Colours each way.
Do you think Haute and Colours is running because French's Eel's out, or do you think this was always going to be the plan to throw it in and put the cat among the pigeons?
There's an entry in the Supreme, but I can't see Willie sending it there. Obviously, would appreciate it, and he's got a strong hand going to the Supreme, hasn't he? So I think he'll be coming here for the Triumph, Will, yeah.
Darren, we'll come to you next. Obviously, it looks like the Irish have got a very strong hands, and then obviously Tritonic won the Adonis at Kempton a couple of weeks ago. Zana here looks like it's not going to be running for Gordon Elliott, but it is technically. It hasn't changed yards, has it? Do you think that's going to affect things for it? Or, obviously Tritonic won very well, but Zana here for me, because it's technically staying under the same umbrella, it looks rock solid, and if anything, you're getting a bit of an inflated price because of what's gone on.
Yeah, agree totally. I'm very impressed with him, and the Sneezy Foster's not even going to be going to Cheltenham anyway. So Zana here is going to have all stable staff that he's well used to. No change of stable, as you say, no problems with feeds or anything like that. So I think 5-2, and I do think we might even get a little bit better if Tritonic will be backed in on the day. I think because a lot of people were impressed with him in the Adonis, and he did win well. He did look a bit green at times, so that's to be expected. But it means there might be a little bit more to come from him, and the way he finished, he learned a lot from it, and he did finish like a train. He actually finished like a good flat horse. But Zana here, actually, the Triumph, I always look for a bit of flat form as well, because it can be a bit of a speed race, and I think Zana here has that. Zana here actually ran a flat maiden with behind Serpentine, who ended up going on, and we know winning the Derby. So he, and also competed against Magical and Mishraf on the flat as well. So it's got good. It's got I wouldn't say great form, but it has decent flat form. It was obviously taught a lot of on the flat, and I think at 5-2 or better is a really good price. I agree with Ant around the Willie Mullins Haute and Colours, and I'll only say it once. 16-1. you wonder why they're running it, because, you know, obviously one run in France on heavy ground isn't going to tell us an awful lot. It was for a race for 3-year-olds, but this is obviously a lot tougher. You couldn't be tipping him up, really. I think, you know, if he was with a smaller yard, it wouldn't be 16-1. So I think it's the trainer's influence really there. But you do wonder, as you say, why is he in there? He must be doing something at home, and it would be interesting to see on the day if money comes for it, and you know, then it's the stable backing it as well. But for me, Zanahiyr, 5-2 or better is a steal, I think.
Henry, first of all, Quilixios has obviously left the Gordon Elliott's yards and moved Henry to Roman. First of all, do you think that's going to affect things? Secondly, who's your pick?
It's going to be difficult to say, isn't it? You're getting mixed signals off trainers when they're asked the question. I know Paul Nicholls seems to think it will be a little bit of an issue, but I think maybe keep an eye out on a couple of runners earlier in the week, the likes of Ballyadam. If he runs a big race in the Supreme, then I think you can be less worried. Obviously, he's still a baby, so I don't know if maybe that'll impact it a little bit, but it certainly wouldn't put me off if I fancy Quilixios, but he's not the one for me in the Triumph, to be honest. I can only echo what the lads have said. I think Zanahiyr will take an awful lot of beating here. I think there's a bit of recency bias into why Tritonic's favourite. Don't get me wrong, he's been impressive in his 2 wins. He showed good attitudes, found quite a lot for pressure, and obviously he was the highest rated out of all these on the flat, which is another tick in the box. But I've always been a big Zanahiyr fan. The way he destroyed St. Sam at Fairyhouse by 14 lengths back in November, and that was backed up on the clock. I know a lot of Shrewies were very, very impressed with that. And even around Christmas time, he come out and he won impressively, beating Bustleton, which is quietly fancied for the Boodles on the first day. And you can mark that performance up just because Elliott's horses were under the cloud at that time. So that was one of very few winners he had over the Christmas period, and he's had a nice break now. And I just think he will drift on the day because you'll get the recency bias with Tritonic winning the Adonis so close to Cheltenham, and I think Zanahiyr will be a bit of a forgotten horse, and we'll get bigger on the day. So I think he's the best horse in the race, and he's probably my best bet on the Friday.
Paul, just last to you then. First of all, what's your records like this in the race? Am I right to say a few years ago you backed Countrywide Flame?
No,
nonsense.
Little bit, but Zayna, and then I had Barazon when it went off. I had Barazon at 50-1, went off like a scalded cat and got done on the line by Soldatino. So I don't do too bad in it. Last couple of years have been dry, but it's a race I like.
Think I like it this year.
Zayna to beat Walk On. That was with the first proper Cheltenham Festival. So it's always a race to look out for.
Who do you like this year?
Having said that, it's for me, it's the best race of the meeting this year. I absolutely can't wait for it. So I'm happy to sit it out and I'll just have a token bet. So I'm not going to have a really strong bet. The one I will do is Quilixios. I know it's been grabbed a bit early doors by the lads, but if you look at it there, they've both got, with Zanahiyr, they've both got the form line with Bustleton. They both beat it equally. Both beat it equally. It was impressive. So I don't think there's that much between them. In fact, there's only £1 on the official ratings, and Zanahiyr is 9-4, and say Quilixios is 11-2. And say it's not the match bet at all that it's between Tritonic and Zanahiyr, in my opinion. You couldn't even rule out the Dagio, who's improving with every run. We haven't seen Duffelcoat for a while, so for it to be a match bet, 9-4 is a bit unfair on the others. As I say, so the 11-2 on Quilixios. The only reservation I've got with him is he's only beat small fields so far, and that's the same with Zanahiyr as well, so the same argument applies to that. Whereas, in fairness to Tritonic, it's been there, it's beat a big field, fast pace, so it's just a little question mark about the 2 Irish horses there, about how they it's going to be a completely different race than what they're used to.
Just a stupid one as well. It's not going to win, so I wouldn't even bother doing each way. I'd just do a straight place bet on it. There's one for Oliver Greenall, Hommy Public it's called. It's about 50 to 1. As I say, it's got no chance of winning, so I say don't even waste each way part of a win bet. So all this, see it's come over from France on its debut. I think it was at Catterick. It come second. Say there was a crab in front of it, but it was 2 lengths behind. Come out and lost the shoe, and still managed to get seconds. It then come out and won his maiden at Market Raisin nicely, but beat a useful horse by about 6 lengths. But the form where you're looking for, if you go back to France, he was a neck behind this Nichols one for this Hugh Gray for the Boodles, who's said just looking there, he's gone into favourite for the Boodles. So last start in France and neck behind that. It'll just be interesting if this Hugh Gray goes in on the Tuesday at 50 to 1, say place only betting. It just wouldn't surprise me if that can run on for a place. So Quilixios would be my main bet, but nothing big. And a flyer on Hommy Public for Greenall at 50 to 1. Obviously, leave the win, so that'll be a place bet.
Quilixios then for Paul to win. To summarise then, Henry?
Zana here for me.
And?
Zana here for the win, and me each way shout, which was Hort and Colours.
And Darren, you're in the family in the Zana here camp as well?
Yeah, Zana here.
And I'll throw in Duffel Coaster as you wanted to track. And if it gets there, I fancy to run a big race. We'll go and see Albert Bartlett then, lads, which is novice hurdle, contested over 3 miles. I mean, it's traditionally a difficult race to get right, isn't it? But last 2 winners, Manila, Indo and Monkfish, have been the classy source that have won the race. Darren, is that the tack that you're taking this year going into the race? Do you think the class will prevail, or would you like a battled, hardened sword that usually you've needed to get up in this race?
Yeah, I'm not sure we have a Monkfish or a Manila Indo in here, or even a Pentail who won it before. Actually, looking at it, I think it's a tough race to pick. I really do like Barbados Book. He's 8 to 1. He was very good over 3 miles. He was quite impressive how he pulled away when the second came up beside him, and he was also given away weight that day. He hasn't run in graded races, so we're taking a chance. But I mean, Paul Nicholls seems to be very keen on him. Anytime he's spoken about Cheltenham, he's always mentioned him. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, but he does seem to be very keen. It is a chance at 8 to 1, and we might get better on the day if the favourite wins, or if Gaillard de Menil wins earlier in the week, because Statler, who looks like it will be favourite or is at the moment, his form behind Gaillard de Menil is good. It reads very well, and he was just pipped on the line for second by Gentleman's Game, so it's solid form. He really does look good on paper. That was over 2.6. This has the extra furlong in the hill, and I'm just not sure at the price. I'd take a chance on him. He could get outstayed on the run in by someone like Barbados Books, who is a proven stayer. So yeah, at the start, there's a stat that 10 out of the last 12 winners have won over 2, 7 and 3 miles, and Statler has only 3 runs to his name, so you couldn't really put that stat against him. But I think if he gets an easy lead and Townsend gets his fractions right, well then he could do it, but I'd be more keen on Barbados Book.
Ant, come to you next on this one.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think mainly you need a relatively experienced horse to win this race, and out stayer. I think I've found the perfect one in Fakira. Every time he runs, it just seems like he needs further and further. I think a test and sack like Cheltenham will suit the horse completely. It got outpaced in a grade 2 over 2 mile at Navan just before Christmas, and stayed on strongly to finish behind Astel Bob that day. Then obviously it was stepped up and sit to 2 mile 6 at the Dublin Racing Festival. Didn't appear to get outpaced again that day, and then ran on again like an absolute saint to finish 4th behind a jolly year Statlier. Obviously the Albert Bartlett is another step up and SIP again, and I think this race has been a target all season for the horse potentially. I think it's been completely laid out for this, so I'm really strong on Fakira for me win bets. I would like the horse to be ridden a bit nearer the paces. It's been left with a lot to do in its last 2 races, but like I say, that could be something to do with the fact I think it's been completely laid out for it. Another one I like for an each way bet at an absolutely massive price is Pat's Fancy at 50-1. I am willing to forgive a poor run last time out. Most of the field that day in that race got pulled up. So like I say, I'm more than willing to forgive that. Pat's Fancy's only finished at a length behind Philippe, is it? The Fergal O'Brien horse in a bumper earlier this season. Now, Philippe's for this race is 10-1. Pat's Fancy's 50-1. Like so, Philippe have got no course form around Cheltenham, whereas Pat's Fancy ran a cracker in a trial for this race back at Cheltenham in December. Only found him 1-2 good that day. Got done for a bit of toe. But like I say, I think it's great each way value. Once again, I'm willing to pay me money and take me a chance of 50s.
Just on for Caleb. Henry, you are a scratch golfer. We all know how good you are around Formby Hall. 3 under through 5 seems an apt name for you to back. Would you like it?
I mean, I'd take being 3 under through 5 every time I play, but yeah, I mean, it's not going to be one of my selections, but it's doing everything right, isn't it? 3 under through 5. It's won its last 3 starts, and I think the last time out it was a bit of an unknown because it'd been running mainly over 2.5 miles, and then stepped up to 3 miles on soft ground and went right through the line. Really, the only concern I'd have with that is it was round Musselburgh, which is a very tight, fast track. So whether he'll be more vulnerable to a stronger stayer round Cheltenham it has to be a bit of a concern for me. But he's certainly unexposed, and I wouldn't put anyone off if they do fancy him. My novice hurdler to follow is Farid Delane. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to actually make it for Cheltenham, but if he does, he will be going in this race. He's around 14-1, and I think he is tailor-made for it. I'm just worried about the injury concerns because there is rumours in the yard, and he wasn't mentioned in the Gordon Elliott stable tour. So I'm going to have to add another one just to be on the safe side, and the one I've landed on is Taurograph, the other one of the Gordon Elliott yard. He just looks like complete, just tailor-made for this race, to be honest. And one thing that's caught my eye is he's following the same path Monkfish took last year. He went to Fairyhouse, won a maiden hurdle, and then he went to Thales last time out, won the same race Monkfish won, and he kept on strongly up right through the line there, and it looked like he was in maybe for a bit of a battle jumping the last, but he just went clear and seemed to relish every yard of the 2 mile 7 trip, and that was obviously on soft to heavy ground, so I've got no concerns over stamina. I think he's tailor-made for this, and I just think a few of them near the top of the market are worth taking on. I think Darren touched on Statler, just regards to still a bit of an unknown about the trip, and I don't know if he justifies being a 9-2 favourite, to be honest. I think he obviously made the run last time out and ended up holding on for third, but didn't blow me away, to be honest, and I didn't think he's crying out for a step up and trip. For Kira, I can see the logic why people are fancying him, but I think the price is gone, and I'll be a little bit concerned because I think no matter what trip he runs over, he'll be beaten halfway round and stay on past beaten horses. I think it'd have to be a complete bog for him to win, because I think he'll be beaten down the back straight if it is good to soft ground. So yeah, Taurograph for me. I just think he's the most solid option, and I like the fact that he's took the same route as last year's winner.
Paul, I weren't going to come to you last week. You're up and down on your chair, so unfortunately I've had to leave you till less this time, but I hope no one's stolen your thunder. I hope you've got one for us.
No, that's just echo what Darren says. It's Barbados books for me. He just reminds you, doesn't he, of his famous namesake? Obviously the same silk, same connections. But the mate say, like big bucks, he doesn't do anything flashy. You're not on the edge of your seat watching it, nothing exciting about him. He does just enough. But as I say, we know he's going to the two in front of him in the market have yet to go over the extended trip. Whereas this boy, he's going to stay. And it's really not just does he stay, he seems to me to do all his best work at the end. So it's not as if you know, he's a questionable stayer. We know if there's going to be one finishing up the hill stronger, it's a good bet it's going to be him. So he's got the experience on the clock, which I think, again, Darren alluded to, you need for this race. It can get to a bit of a rough and tumble, and it's a bit of a rough race. Say novices going over 3 miles in a big field, so I've got no qualms for therefore. It looks battle hardened to me for his age. I know Nichol's sweet on him, and he's been blue on odds checker, particularly so the last month. I think he was like 20s last time I looked a month ago, and he's now into 8s. The only one that's put me off a little, and like Henry's mentioned him, is that Taurograph. Now, if he doesn't turn up, I'd be even more sweeter on Barbados books, 8-1. They'd be all that on that all day. If Taurograph doesn't turn up, I'll probably end up putting it as mean after the day. I think it's a nothing bet.
So Barbados books for you, Paul. Darren, you Barbados books camp as well.
Yep.
And just to clarify your selection.
For Kira to win and Pat's fancy to place each way.
And Henry, finally over to you.
Yeah, Taurograph win and Feric Delane if it does make it each way.
Superb stuff, gents. Well, we'll go on to the feature of the day and indeed the meeting, which is the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And Album Photo is your 5-2 favourite, going for 3 successive wins. What a feat that would be. 5-2 at the minute. Champ 5-1. Last year's RSA winner and reappeared at Newbury over 2 miles last time out. A Plutard 6-1, Santini 14-1, Manila Indo 14-1, Kemboy 14-1, as was Frodon, Native River 16-1, 33-1 bar. Paul, because I've left you last in the last couple, I'm going to come to you first. First of all, I'm going to ask you about Album Photo. I mean, it's gone for 3 Gold Cups on a spin. That is no mean feat whatsoever. Why isn't this horse getting the credit it deserves? Why hasn't the public latched onto this? Is it because it goes through the unsexy route of going to Tremor in a little race and then being kept away? Is that why? Because the horse isn't in the public eye? Is that why people haven't got an affinity to it?
Absolutely, you've answered it perfectly there. It's literally just, you see it twice a year. Say one of them is in Tranmore with, say I think it's over the Christmas New Year period, so it can get lost, as that meeting can get lost. Amidst all the other meetings that are on at that time. It's like an egg and spoon race that it does over there, and then you see it on Gold Cup Day. So it's literally just, it's conspicuous by his absence. I don't think that's why he's got the following that it is a really nice horse. It would disappoint me if it won it again. I don't think it's in the league of best made. So to put it alongside there, it'd be a bit of a but say you've got to give, if it does it, you've got to tip your hat off to it. But yeah, it's just, as you say, it's just the lack of activity, I think, why it doesn't capture the public's imagination. But say it's no fault of the horse. It's, say he turns up, he does his winning, and say he's won 2 already. He's got a favourite chance to win 3, but it's just, I'm like the man. I'm not a huge respecter, but it's not one that I make space in my diary to watch, to be honest. Well, you don't get a chance to watch it because it's hardly ever out. On the cup, it's obviously got it. It's definitely the wavy fav. You can't knock it. Said he had jumping concerns early on, but he's put them to bed. He's been pretty much flawless. So 5-2, I can say that he's the one they all have to beat. Champ's a fascinating contender, but you'd have to worry about the prep. Despite it running a cracker, you'd still have to be worried with it going up to down and then back up again, and only the one run. I think his jumping as well, he had it all his own way when he on his reappearance. I've just got a question mark if he's gonna put a clanger in, going at a frenetic Gold Cup pace. It's night and day to what he's gonna have come up against last time. So he's not going to get away with a jumping head against the fields of this calibre. The other one I like is a Plutard. It's just that Savills run, the way it absolutely flew up the hill to nab Kemboy on the line. And that form's looked even better because Kemboy seems to be on a bit of a renaissance. It took down the Irish Gold Cup in February. So say that I can just picture it flying up the hill. It looks like Stamina's the name of that one's game. We know he acts on the track. He won the Close Brothers a couple of years ago. 7-1, I think his jumping's fantastic. Hopefully Blackmore can drop him in midfield. I think they're going to be coming some pace with Native River in there. and then I can see him picking him off the hill. I think he'll be the one flying home. And as long as he hasn't given them enough rope, I think it'll be a Plutarch charging up the field for Blackmore. 7-1, I'll be on that.
Darren, with Albion Photo, he obviously won that race at Tramore again, but Willie Mullins wasn't exactly enamoured by his performance, was he? He won by 19 lengths or something, but Willie Mullins first said, I need to step him up at home a little bit more. I need to do a little bit more with him. Does that worry you that maybe things haven't gone as smoothly as the past couple of years?
I wouldn't really. I mean, Willie seems to speak very quick after races, and it's he's nearly letting the brain, what he's thinking, come out as fact. I wouldn't be too worried. I mean, when they've done it twice already, and I do agree with you, it's a horse that not too many people have latched onto purely because we love to see our horses running, and twice a year. And really for the majority of people, probably once a year, because we don't, people aren't included into Tramore and that. And obviously he's going to win in Tramore and his price isn't even worth looking at. I've tried to get him beat though. And while he may not be a best mate, at the end of the day, he's 1-2 and he only beats what's in front of him. And he is able to do it. Plutarch, he was visually, really good. Beating Ken Boy at the death staying on. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure Ken Boy is a good yardstick for the Gold Cup though, because they were really thinking of going to the Stayers hurdle and still could if ground was to go against them or that. To me, that's not a very confident yard. It's not a confident trainer that's kind of unsure. If he's going to go for a Stayers hurdle or a Gold Cup. I think they believed that Cheltenham just doesn't suit Ken Boy, and that's where they were willing to get to. They know they might place possibly, whereas they think over hurdles they have a better chance. So I, as I said, like Paul said, Champ 5-1. You're taking a big chance with him, and also he's going to probably get smaller than that on the day, because I do think that'll be the horse that maybe the public will latch on to. And that might help give Albion Photo a better price. But I'd be worried about his jumping. He did jump well in the 2 mile that he was beaten in, but he was a bit untidy at the last, which could have ruined his chances of winning. It's a strange preparation. He beat Manila Endo and Alaho in the RSA, but they haven't really franked that form. They're up there, but they're not pulling up trees. They're not winning top races like we expected the two of them to be doing. So we have to see that as well. So a 5-1, I think it's a gamble. He could of course do it, but I'd need double figures for 10-1 or more just to be looking at him each way. I would give an each way shout out for 2. Santini. I know his form is gone this year, but he was second last year. And he got close to Albion Photo than a lot others haven't over his time. So I would think that he could be a spring horse who comes into his own, and maybe with the important Cheltenham form. While the others are all looking at each other, you can't rule out Frodon each way if he gets his way out front. Bryony is so good at the fractions and so good at getting it right that you would be very concerned if they didn't take him serious. But I can't get Albion Photo beaten. And I'd be hoping with better price on the day.
And before Christmas, when we recorded Andy Pope's preview of the championship races, you couldn't see Albion Photo anything contesting it, really. Do you still have that same sentiment now? Do you think that nothing's emerged that will worry him?
Yeah, early in the year, I obviously couldn't oppose Albion Photo. I can only sort of echo what Paul said. He's obviously read me notes again because he's stole all my lines there, to be honest, about Albion Photo. Usual preparation to more New Year's Day. Comes in fit and fresh and goes and wins the Gold Cup for me. The other one that I would put up here, and I've got as a grade 1 ground versatile, proven stayer at the trip horse to put up here, and I can't believe I'm about to say it. I feel like I need to wash my mouth out, but I think Frodon could potentially have a fantastic chance. I mean, like Stan sort of stole me thunder there with Barani setting the fractions from the front and that. I can only echo those sentiments. You'd like to think if you were laying Frodon on the exchanges that Native River would serve it up from the front with Dickie Johnson. But we don't know the tactics there. But with Frozone, I mean, it's an excellent weight carrying performance earlier in the season, a handicap at Cheltenham, coincidentally beating Clough Cap that day, the favourite for the Grand National. So that's a bit of form in the boot. Obviously, went to Aintree, he missed a load of fences out that day due to low sun. So we can put a line through that Aintree run. And you've got the likes of Lakeview lads winning that race. I mean, definitely put a line through it.
He only ran 10 of the 19 fences, didn't he, that day?
Oh, yeah. It's absolute farce of a race. Then, obviously, went to Kempton and won the King George. There's no better preparation for going to a Gold Cup than winning a Grade 1 at Kempton at Christmas than the King George. I mean, I'm looking at the betting here on 365. That actually Ken Boys 10-1 who absolutely detest Cheltenham, and you've got the likes. I know Ken Boys got form over in Ireland, but there's nothing to suggest he's going to go to Cheltenham and win with his performances there. So I've seen worse each way better 12-1 than Frozone. Every box is ticked, and we could see Bryony Frost's face adorning the cover of the Racing Post on middle of National Day, so on the Saturday morning. So that wouldn't surprise me. Obviously, a nice winner would be Native River for Colin Tizard, who's announced his retirement today. He's handing his licence over to Joe, isn't he? So it'd be nice for Native River to regain the Gold Cup for those of us with hearts out there. But no, talking through my pocket, it would be Alboom to win and Frozone to steal some each way money.
Would you? And Henry, last but not least to you, I know at the start of the season you really thought Manila Inzo was going to step up, and his first couple of runs he looked like a potential superstar, but it just hasn't worked out for him, has he? So have you switched allegiance now?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't completely give up on Manila Inzo, but at this stage I wouldn't be willing to put me hard-earned cash on him to win a Gold Cup. Just the fall.
It's a good job you got no hard-earned cash then, innit?
Well, true, yeah, it's all gone. Yeah, to be honest, Milorenzo, just that run last time out was enough to make me look elsewhere. Alboom Photo is my lie of the Cheltenham Festival. I just can't have him winning 3 Gold Cups. Last year was, in my opinion, was a pretty poor renewal in the end. He was clinging on at the death, in my opinion. An extra couple of strides and Santini went past him, won by a neck. And you look at the form in behind, it's lost in translation, who's not done nothing this season. Monoleague, Delta, Real Steel. I don't think it was a great renewal of the Gold Cup, and I think he's vulnerable now. He's obviously ran in 2 Gold Cups, and I think this is definitely the deepest one he'll have ran in. And for me, 5-2 is just far too short. I'm happy to lay him all day. I do like the 2 new ones on the block, really, in Champ and Aflutar. I think with Champ, yeah, I can understand what the lads are saying, but you can look at it in another way. I mean, a lot of the Gold Cup winners we see over the last few years are coming in a lot fresher, where the likes of Native River, we didn't see him when he won his Gold Cup till the Denman Chase. And then obviously he went on to win a Gold Cup. Alboom Photo only has the 1 run, so I wouldn't be as concerned about the preparation as others. I understand running over 2 miles probably isn't ideal, but he's never been a horse that's lacked speed. He comes second in a Ballymore, which is arguably a greater test of speed than the Supreme a lot of the time, because they go slow and then they quicken up down the back, where the Supreme's just relentless. So I wouldn't be as worried. And the fact that he went to Henrietta Knight over the summer, it's definitely the best he's jumped, and I think the quicker they go, the better his jumping will be. I think if when he was a novice, a lot of them races were pretty tactical, and I think he just spent a bit too much time in the air because he was overthinking it. But if they go fast, his decisions made up for him a lot of the time, and I think he's a worthy opponent to Alboom Photo, and he's one I certainly will consider backing on the day. Similar with Aplutard, he sort of reminds me of Sergeant John a little bit, where he was a very good horse over 2.5, 2. He's versatile trip wise, and I think when he stepped up to 3 miles over Christmas was the making of him. The way he stayed on in the home straight to go past the Mullins pair was really eye catching for me, and like I've got no stamina concerns for him. I think he'll get every yard of the trip, the 3 mile 2 trip, and forget Bryony Frost. I think it could be Rachel Blackmore maybe on the front of the racing post on the Saturday. I would echo what Darren said though as well about Santini. He's a horse that I've had on my radar for this for months, and I'd only back him if he got first time headgear. I'm hoping Nicky goes for first time blinkers. He obviously ran his best race of last season when he was getting first time cheek pieces, where he obviously just missed out on winning the Gold Cup last year, and I'm hoping he's left them off purposely because there was rumours he may go on at Sandown last time out, but I think Nicky's just waiting, and I think first time blinkers will just sharpen him up a little bit. And like I said, with an extra stride last year, he would have got up to win. So if I was pushed for the selection, it's difficult because I'd say Santini for me each way selection, but with Champ and Aflutado, I wouldn't really be willing to back them both. So I think it comes down to how the trainer's form is earlier on in the week, because there's still a bit of a doubt over Nicky Henderson, and I'd like to see him maybe have a couple of winners earlier in the week, just so we know his stable are on form. And if that's the case, it probably would just lean towards Champ. But if some of his hot pots get turned over early in the week, then I'd probably have to favour Aflutado for a win selection. But it's a lay bet album photo, I know that.
Well, lads, I'm going to ask you for your 1, 2, 3 in the race. So, Henry, you can go first.
Oof, go on, I'll go first Champ, second Aflutado, and third Santini.
Darren?
I'll go Albion Photo, Frodon, and Santini.
Paul?
We'll go with Plus Tar to beat Albion Photo, and Santini bring it up the rear for the Tricast.
And Ant, last but not least.
Albion Photo, Frodon, and a Plutard.
Okay, lads, well, we'll finish off with the Mare's Chase. I know there's not a lot of enthusiasm for this, but unfortunately that's been brought in, and we will touch upon it. Ellie Mays, the 74 favourite, Cool Reevy 4-1, Shattered Love 15-2, Annie Mac 8-1, 16-1 bar. Henry, for me, Shattered Love, former Marsh winner, Grade 1 around Cheltenham, 15-2. Is she not the class element in this?
I'll be honest, Will, she's not for me. Shattered Love in this. Since that win at Cheltenham, I don't think she's run a good race since, has she? She's been well beaten numerous times, and even last time out, she was constantly put in a place by Ellie May. And Ellie May's she's the new girl on the block, isn't she? She's going to take an awful lot of beating in this. I think, to be honest, 7-4 could be a little bit of value. I think if the winners are flying in for Mullins throughout the week, I think the money will come for her again, and I think she will take a lot of beating. A run, second to last run, where her and Alaho pulled way clear of the rest, was really good. They pulled like over 50 lengths clear of the third, and it was backed up well on the clock. So she then obviously went on and won last time out, and I think 7-4. You probably get a similar price on the day, but I can't really put anyone off here. If you're looking for maybe an each way selection, Annie Mac's a fair price at 8-1. She's another one who's really improving, and she's just solid, isn't she? She always runs a race, no ground concerns, and she'll have no trip concerns. So I'll be all in on Ellie May on the day, but if someone wants a little each way selection, I think Annie Mac will probably run into the places.
What do you reckon, Paul? If you've done your conkers in on the day, do you think you can get it all back with Ellie May?
She'll probably win, to be honest. I was boycott this race. Meant that one of my favourite races, the novice handicap chase on the first day, I had to make way for it. So I've got to be in my bonnet about this one. But yeah, she's probably the get-out player, isn't she? Ellie May at 7-4. Say when you're having trouble with the scoreboards, just say lump on that and get yourself back level par. Say I like Shattered Love, but say she got battered by Ellie May, given and she was getting weight that day. She got absolutely no chance of reversing it off levels. The only one, a bit of an outside squeak, is the other Jigginstown one for Mr. Joseph O'Brien and Scarlet and Dove. It's got some nice form. Come out, I think it was last week, won nicely. So it was again another egg and spoon race, but done what it had to. Won nicely by 7 lengths, didn't have to work too hard. Time before that at Turles, it was against Cole Reevy when she come down. Probably weren't going to be Cole Reevy, was travelling better that day, but she went out of it. So it would have been nice to see what happens if she stood up. About 20 to 1 here. Say if she was going all the way, if Cole Reevy was 7 to 2, must be not quite lightly raced as well for a 7-year-old. Only had a handful of runs. So I'll take a swing and a hit on this one each way. But not a race I'm here. I mean, I'd be at the bar if the pubs were open, put it that way.
Flick over the countdown or whatever's on at that time then. Darren, what about you? Are you enthused about this race, or will you just watch as a watching brief for later in the season or next season or what have you?
Yeah, I'm enthused with Ellie May. The race itself, I'm not too sure. It could be one of them races that takes a long time to find its place in the card. But I am enthused by Ellie May. I mean, she's 7 to 4. I can't see her being beat. And there'll be 7 to 4 favourites going in Cheltenham next week that are going to be up against a lot better quality than she seems to be. So I mean, the form is really good, beating Charlotte Love well, second to Allaho. I can't see her beat at all. Cool Reevy kind of looks okay. Cool Reevy's ran twice in Cheltenham and hasn't won. There's a chance the course doesn't suit, and until Cool Reevy won the last day, the owners had no intention of going to Cheltenham at all. So it hasn't been a plan, more of an afterthought. The only one I could say, if nobody was looking at a 7 to 4 favourite, is maybe cut the mustard, 33 to 1 each way, and the only reason I'm giving that is because Ellie May be cut the mustard already, and it often happens where a horse can follow the same horse home. But that would be pretty much me, Ellie May.
Ellie May for Darren. Henry, Ellie May for you. And do you fancy anything and got anything to add, or are you not too enthused about this?
Not too enthused would be an understatement, to be honest there, Will. Ellie May's obviously forming the boot behind Allaho and the Kinloch play. You can't argue with that. Then went on and won impressively last time out. One that will win this if we get a deluge of rain and it turns up heavy next week, which it won't, but just in case that does happen, is Cole Reevy. Needs heavy ground to win, like really heavy ground. So I think if it turns up heavy, I think the former head of Pencil Full of Lead, who's highly rated at Limerick in December, then went on to win at Fails, carrying a penalty. Obviously comes in here fresh as well, hasn't ran since January, skipped the Dublin Racing Festival. So if it comes up heavy, Cole Reevy will win this and beat the Jolly. If not, it's all in on Ellie May if the ground's any difference.
One thing about this race, though, obviously it wasn't very popular anyway, the idea of a mares chase coming in with a lot of racing fans. Fancy putting it on the second to last race of the week when people have probably lost all the money and they're ready for the week to be over. The Gold Cups ran and everything. No one's put it on one of the first couple of days when people are excited to watch the race, and don't put it on the second to last race of the week. But
they've moved the Grand Annual, haven't they, to Wednesday now, which obviously brought the curtain down.
I know. It's one of them. It's not a good way to promote it, and I think a lot of people will turn off.
Might be a way to get your money back, though, mightn't it?
Yeah, true.
And just finally, so 3 votes for Ellie May, and Paul, just finally to you.
I spoke, didn't I? It was the Joseph O'Brien one, Scarlet and Dove for little each way at 20.
Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up with a couple of questions about day 4 and the rest of the festival. So, Darren, your best bet on day 4?
My best bet, I'll go for a little bit of value with Barbados Bucks.
And?
Fakira.
Paul?
Best bet would have been Barbados Bucks, but we don't want to do the same one, so I'll go to the County Hurdle. You raised me up for Martin Brazil.
And finally, Henry?
Zana here for me.
And I'm going to ask you to put your neck on the line and have one naff of the entire festival. So Henry, in the reverse order this time, come to you first.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows I love Bob Allinger, but everyone's bloody napping that, so the price is sort of disappearing fast. So I'm going to go for Glenn's of Antrim in the Mares Novice. And money's coming for that as well, but still get about 10 to 1.
Paul?
I'll put two up. One of the sensible one be Sergei Hard. I think he'll do Kilcruit in the bumper. And then my value nap is in the Potential final, and it is Miss Harrington's charge. It's Linwood Gold, about 11 to 1 for that one. So Sergei Hard 5 to 2, Linwood Gold 11 to 1.
That's an interesting one, Ant.
Kashari in the Coral Cup.
Another interesting one. Darren, have you got a handicap hot pot?
Yeah, I'll put up two because I don't know where we're going to run. The Shunter, I think wherever he runs, he's in for that nice bonus, and Emmett Mullins definitely knows how to win something like that, so he can place them very well. It's just going to be fascinating where he runs. And I would maybe in the Paddy Power Plate, Umbrigado would be probably my best each way bet of the week.
Yeah, brilliant. And finally, I'm going to come for you. Top Trainer and Top Jockey, Darren.
Top Jockey, I'm going to take a chance on Jack Kennedy. And it's very hard to get away from Top Trainer, but obviously if you're doing a bet in it, Willie Mullins is out on his own. I think maybe if you try someone like Dan Skelton each way, or without Willie Mullins, might be a decent bet. He's got a few nice runners.
Henry?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to top Mullins and Townend, but if you're looking for a bit of value, I'd go with the Bromhead and Blackmore.
And
going to have to be fairly bland and boring, and you can't get away from it, can you? I mean, Mullins and Townend. Yeah, that's it.
Not else to say, is the Paul, or are you looking for something else?
I'll go Blackmore, and I'll throw Nichols in, see if he can get a couple of the handicaps. So Rachel Blackmore, Paul Nichols.
Brilliant stuff, lads. Well, that's been our day 4 of the festival and our Cheltenham preview wrapped up 2021. I hope everyone listening has enjoyed these previews. Enjoy the festival. Make sure you gamble responsibly. Be gamble aware, and join us when we are back after Cheltenham, I'm sure, to dissect the 4 days and to look ahead to Aintree. So, lads, thanks very much for joining me, and join us next time.